In writing today, your learning objective is to identify features of an exclamation text. And features just mean the things, the ingredients of that text that make it a really good, a successful text. Okay, and now we've looked at explanation texts before. We know that they are non-fiction genre. Okay, so they tell us facts and information about a subject that we want to know more about. So it tells us how or why something happens, and it often describes a process, okay, that gives us reasons and explanations. So let's go back to our explanation text that we've been reading the last few weeks. Okay, and we're going to identify some of the features that make this explanation text a really good example. Okay, and the features are like those ingredients that go into a cake to make it successful. Okay, so when we look at features, we can break it down into organizational features, and this is how the text is structured and how, when we look at it just with our eyes, we can see how it's set out and it's laid out. Okay, so the first thing a text needs to have to be really successful is a title. The title must be bold and clear and stand out and tell us what the text is about. Now we know that all this writing on the page is going to be about paint. And so it must have a title. This text is also organised into paragraphs. If you can see, it's split up into groups of sentences, okay? And we know what each paragraph is going to be about because there are also subheadings, okay? So all of this text here, this group of sentences, is going to tell us what paint is, okay? This text here, this information is going to tell us how they are made. And did you know, sentences that usually form did you know tell us facts and information. Okay, and we also have this text up here, which is the introduction. Now that's really important for a text because it introduces what the text is going to be about. Okay, and it usually flows in an order. So we always have the introduction first because that's the main thing we want to know, and then the rest of the subheadings flow in an order to inform us. And sometimes it ends with a conclusion as well. Now, so we know there's subheadings that tell us what the information is about. There is also, if we look at the text, pictures and diagrams, okay? They give us a clear idea of what the text is about. They just give us a little bit more information, okay? So they're usually labelled to tell us what they are as well, so there's no confusion. Then we need to look at the language features. Now, the language features are the types of words used in a text, okay? So if we look here, an explanation text is always written in the present tense, okay? So it's happening now, okay? It's explaining something that happens, okay? So if we look at the first sentence, paint is protection, okay? That is in the present tense. It's not saying paint was protection, it is, okay? That's in the present tense. And we have words like, although there are many different types of paints, okay? So we've got there are. It's not in the past tense and saying there were many different types of paint. It's something that's happening right now. So it's written, an explanation text written in the present tense. There's also conjunctions used, okay? So we know our conjunctions are our fanboys, okay? So they add on to a sentence to give more information, okay? So they make a sentence slightly longer by including more information. And sometimes in an explanation text, okay, they link sentences together to give a cause and effect. So they explain the reason why something's happening and an effect that this gives, okay? So if you look at this sentence here, it's a very long sentence because there's conjunctions used in it to explain the process of something, okay, or to give us extra information. Something else that's used in this text to make it successful and a good example is colons. Now you practiced using colons the other day, okay, and we know that colons are often used when you're writing a list of things, okay, so we can see in this sentence there are colons to introduce a list of different things to inform the reader. There are also brackets used in this text. We can see here there's brackets used here, and remember, brackets are like a whisper in the reader's ear to give them some extra information, Okay. Then in this text we have lots of facts and information. It's a non-fiction text and its purpose is to explain, teach and inform the reader. So therefore we need to have lots of true information. We can often pick out facts when we see percentages or figures, like roughly 10% of the paint is never actually used. So that's a fact, it's a piece of true information. So we don't usually make up things in explanation text. They are researched, they are found, and they are to inform us of the process of something. So this makes it a non-fiction text. So these are all of the things that make a really successful explanation text when we pull them apart. So now we have looked at a good example, you're going to do your first task. So your task today is to box up the information in All About Paint. We've already story mapped the introduction, and these are some examples that I've seen uploaded to Seesaw. They might be yours, I don't know, you have to look really carefully and see who notices them. So when you box it up, it's really important that this is an example of what a good one looks like. So we always start with having the title. That's the main thing because it tells the reader what the text is about. You put the subheadings in a column, in the order that they are written in. So you would always start with the introduction, okay, and then you would go through and put them in the order that they are written in. Then in the next column down, this is where you summarize information. So instead of rewriting the whole paragraph, you need to pick out the key facts, the most important things that paragraph is telling us, okay? A bit like when we juice an orange, okay? The juice is just the main part, so we pick out that main information. So let's have a look at our steps to success. So in your steps to success, you can choose a mild or spicy challenge. Firstly, read through the text again, create in your home learning books a boxed up planner, which I will show you how to do a good one in a minute. Write the title and subheadings in the correct order. If you want to choose a mild challenge, you can just choose 5 main words in each paragraph and write the key words in bullet points in your box up planner, or you can draw pictures to help you visualize those keywords. If you want to go for the spicy challenge, then you can summarize the information in the paragraph in your own words in 2 to 3 sentences, okay? So spicy, you're juicing the orange, okay, and mild, you're just selecting 5 main words. So let's look at what you need to create in your book. So this is an All About Paint boxed up planner. So you have the title at the top, we have our paragraphs in order, and I've even written my subheadings next to them. So what you need to do is read through the text. So this is the text, what is paint? Now when I summarize, I need to reduce it down and I just need to pick out the main facts, okay? So if I look at this first sentence, paint is protection, much more than just colour in tin or tube. You don't just necessarily paint over things to make them look better. You paint the outside of your home to keep the rain out. We can paint cars, bicycles, planes and trains. Now I can rewrite that sentence in a lot fewer words. So it's just telling me paint, I'm just going to move this. It's basically telling me paint is more than just a colour. It's protection, isn't it? Paint is more than a colour. I might use a conjunction because, or I just want to keep it really, really simple. Paint is more than a colour. I could use a dash or a comma. It protects, oh, let's check my spellings. It protects objects like, now I'm going to write my list, so I could use a colon here. Homes, if I'm writing a list, I use my comma to separate the word. Cars, bikes, comma, planes, and trains. From water and rust. Okay, and then I can just the last sentence, on aeroplanes and the space shuttle, paint is one of the things that protects the structure when air rushing past at high speed creates friction and heat. So to summarise that, I can just say paint on aeroplanes, space shuttles protects the structure. Paint on airplanes / space shuttles protects the structure. And I might just say from air. Okay, so I've just reduced down that paragraph. I'm sure you can do a lot better, but you're just picking out that key information and writing it in your own words. Remember, it's like squeezing the juice out of the orange. You're just using the main parts. I'm excited to see your boxed up planners. Have a go. Be creative. Remember, choose either just picking out 5 keywords or challenge yourself and summarize into your own sentences. Enjoy!